Hey guys, so these here are the first pair of tongs I ever made. I made them out of a coil spring from the strut in a car, and they're not great, and they have limitations. They can't really grab round things very well or thick things very well. So I decided I'm going to make a new pair, hopefully that's a little bit more symmetrical and pretty looking, and also fits a wider variety of grabbing purposes. For the metal, I'm going to go ahead and use these old CV axles, kindly donated by Dave, my machinist friend. And yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and cut these up and start shaping them. They're already pretty much in the shape they need to be. I have not yet decided whether I'm going to use both pieces or just cut one in half, but we will see. That was kind of nasty, but got it done. Now to cut them. Well, now that that's all done, go ahead and wipe this grease off, throw them in the forge. Still got to burn this paint off, but not having the smoke from all the grease is going to make things a little more pleasant. Well, I picked the shorter of the two CV axles and went ahead and cut that in half, but I'm still running into the issue where my tongs can't actually grab a piece like this, hence why I'm making a new pair of tongs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and weld these extensions to them, and that way I have something to grab onto while it's in the forge. Got the handles all welded on. I got my little forge table extended unit. I don't think I ever did a video on the forge table. It's handy to have. I'm just going to go ahead and set those on the forge, and we can go ahead and get started with the fun part of this build. Like I was saying, the original pair of tongs is more of a flat pair of tongs. Doesn't do a great job at grabbing round stuff or really thick, flat stuff. So my idea is to kind of just make sort of the same shape, but extend this portion where the pivot's going to be, and just in front of that, so that way it's going to be able to have kind of a bigger round C shorter shape back here, and that way it'll give me more space for the jaws to have kind of a V shape to grip onto awkward shaped things, and then I'll also leave more space here for when the handles touch. It won't be exactly like this set. I'll just basically be leaving more space, but for the most part I'm going to be kind of sort of copying this. Alright, so just checking to make sure I'm doing a good job of keeping these guys opposites like I'm supposed to. So that way when I do the big round portion, they pinch. It looks like I am doing that proper so far. So not the opposites, but I do want a slight offset, and I just want to start now, making sure I have that offset before I start shaping everything, because it's hard to change it once it gets thin. Basic shape done. Now I'm going to go ahead and draw out the reins and possibly weld extensions onto them, because I don't think I'm going to have the material for that. I'll be honest, this is a little annoying, but I think I left the tongs too thick, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and kind of straighten it, draw it out a little more, and then redo that hook shape. Kind of a big waste of time, but whatever. It'll work out. Sucks to have to restart everything. It gets me a lot of practice, and I do end up with a better finished product, and I did want these tongs to turn out better than the last set, so I think it's worth it. Kind of sucks, a lot of extra effort, but whatever. Alright, so here's for the part that requires a little bit of thinking. So you see how the actual biting jaw portion, I don't know the terminology here, is offset, so I need to make sure that the one that ends up on the left side of the pivot has that excess going to the right, and the one that ends up on the right side of the pivot has that excess going to the left. I'm about to make the point for the rivet to go in, and I need to flatten that out, again, opposite on either side. So since this one's going to be going on the right, I want to make sure that it's flat and the material's gone on the left, so that it's, you know, it's like in line with the right side of the material. and then opposite on this one. So that's gonna just require me to slow down and think about it, because I'm not really all that good at this, but slow and steady, I guess. So they're basically in their final shape. I got the reins about where I want them. I'll draw them out a little more once I'm done with this bit, but for now I'm gonna make the jaws touch each other, and then I'm gonna go ahead and clamp them together and actually drill that hole, just so I have it for reference, and then I'll draw the reins the rest of the way out and make those jaws fit, and then probably have to drift the hole again to make it the right size to fit the rivet, but it's going good so far. Nice little incense I can burn while I'm working here. I don't know what the hell kind of log this is, but it sure smells pretty good. So I'm about to make the V bit, and I'm trying to be very, very careful to heat up only that tip of the jaw, I don't know what it's called, the pinchy portion, the tooth, if you will. Like a pretty decent pair of tongs here, but now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take a break from the forge and grind those portions flat where that motion is going to be with the grinder, so that way it's actually flat, and then maybe stick a washer in between. I don't know, because I'm worried I might forge weld the washer by accident. I don't think that gets hot enough to forge weld, but we'll see. I'm going to do all that before I straighten out the handles. That way I know for sure what the range of motion is going to be, and then I can get the handles set where they need to be. So I just spent the last little while digging around with a place to put this clamp to where I can still drill a hole, and my welding stinger was literally sitting right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put 4 tacks on it and then cut them when I'm done. Maybe that's the best way to do this, but that'll work. And I'm not going to drill a hole to the final size either, because I don't want to remove that much material. What I'm going to do is I'm going to maybe try to drift the hole bigger. Kind of depends. Since it's going to be welded, I'll have a lot more freedom. So we'll see once it's all taken apart and I see what I have to work with, I'll make that decision. But now I'm just going to go ahead and throw 4 tacks on there to hold it in place. Just thought I'd update you on my little idea that I had. At the back of that rivet, kind of rounded off. This camera won't focus. There we go. It's kind of rounded off enough to not fit in the hole. So I'm going to go ahead and straighten everything out and do the final little details on the tongs, and I'm going to go ahead and rivet it. I got this shape figured out. I got everything lined up really. I'm going to flatten it out once I'm all done, but I am going to go ahead and throw my touch mark on here, on both of them, just upward facing right here, right behind the pivot. That way I have it, and it'll look kind of neat. And then I'm going to straighten everything out, grind it all up one final time for range of motion, and then throw that rivet in there. And then once the rivet's in, I can make whatever minor adjustments need to be made for range of motion and such. So I think that's about as close to perfect as I'm going to get these, at least right now. So I'm going to go ahead and throw that rivet in there. I've got to cut it off first at the right length, and then I guess these jaws are a little off center. You can't really tell, but when I clamp them together, I don't have the channel locks with me. When those are pinched together, those jaws are off center, so I'll have to center those back up when I put the rivet in. But other than that, this thing should turn out just fine. finished it. Now I'm just letting it cool off with the forge to temper it, because that won't fit my tempering oven. You gotta be real quiet because this is a real peaceful part. We gotta let the metal take a nap. Alright, well, here's the tongs all done. They may not be the prettiest things in the whole wide world, but I am certainly happy with the way they turned out. They're a lot better than the old ones, and they do grab the bigger stuff a lot better, just like I wanted them to. So probably gonna revisit the old ones and adjust them a little more. These ones might need a little bit of further adjustment, but so far, I mean, altogether, I guess I'm really, really happy with the way it turned out. I did take off some of the sharp edges with a grinder. I could have done it on the forge, but you know, I didn't think about it, so whatever. That's something to do next time. May weld extensions to it, but to be honest with you, I kind of like this length. It's pretty good for what it is. I mean, my hands are plenty far away from the forge, especially when I'm wearing gloves, so yeah. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please like and subscribe. Other than that, have a wonderful rest of your day. God bless.